Hello again, this is Robert Stinsky with Ski Rifles. This is the third installment of how to build a muzzle brake, and today we're going to go ahead and thread and install the muzzle brake on this 45 caliber smokeless muzzleloader that I'm getting started on. So right now I've just got this set up in the lathe, and my tool post and everything is square for threading. So we're just going to cut this off and then just get going. And we're going to actually do two dial-ins as far as how we do this, and I'll show you that once we get going. I've already explained about dialing in on the inside of the barrel. So I'm going to take my brown sharp indicator. I'm going to move the camera real quick. Set that down. We're going to dial this in. Alright, I'm dialed in on the board. And you can see that all the way around. Pretty much perfect with that 1/10,000th indicator. So we're going to zoom out and I'm going to show you the outside of the barrel. Just to show everybody once again, I just showed you I dialed in on the inside of the bore and it lands in grooves, and this is on the outside of the barrel, just right at the tip, just to show you how off it is. It's set at 0. Two and a half, just a little bit, again, more than 2.5 thousandths the difference in between the inside and the outside diameter. So just proving my point again, that if you know anybody that dials their barrels in on the outside of the barrel, tell them you'd rather that they dial in on the lands and grooves. Alright, we're just getting started. We're getting ready to turn this to fit our 3/4 750 thousandths by 28 threads per inch. We're going to go back 1/2 inch. Put it in gear. Quick measurement. .834. Another 50 thousandths. .783. Double check. We'll get the good ones out. And I got about 784.5. I'm going to slow the feed down, and then we'll take off 10 thousandths. No, I'm going to take off 15 thousandths and take a measurement. We're turning at 500 RPM. Sorry about that. We're at 761. You can see that or not. So we're going to take off 11 thousandths. Get that down to 750. On the money. Because of the radius on this insert that I'm using, this DNMT, I need to actually, I'm going to call it countersink just a little bit, because I want that shoulder to square up, both of those shoulders to square up. And just a tad bit more. I use a lot of air. I can't stand seeing chips on top of the lathe. It just bugs me. I don't know if it's OCD or... Get a measurement. It's a little tight. 749.5. Enough. Alright, like I said, we already know that we're square. And we'll change from the turning to my threading. And I'm going to get the lathe set up to 28 threads per inch. Alright, we're set up, 28 threads per inch, everything is square. Once again, I thread at 500 RPMs, so I get a better finish in my opinion. So let's get a first dry pass, and we'll double check with our thread pitch gauge. Nice. Taking 10 thousandths per pass. Dialing another 10 thousandths. Just going to do a spring pass. Bit of a burr on that. This is always a hand check, hand fit, just like with the receiver. And it wants to start. I'll probably go all the way. I'll probably get away with just the spring pass. Sometimes it'll clean itself up. Well, actually, yeah, I could go a little bit of a spring pass on that for sure. Yeah, it might take I've advanced the cross light 1,000 from my zero set point. Alright. It's a form tool, of course. Oh yeah, more gooder. Okay, I've got my boring bar set up, and right now we are still dialed in on the inside of the bore, so we want to make all our cuts. I've already crowned the barrel. We put a 60-degree chamfer on there and a straight recessed flat crown. So now, after that, I want to bore the inside of this muzzle brake concentric with the bore diameter of the barrel itself. So right now we're going to go probably about 470 to 475. So we're just going to take a cut. Back it out. Blow my OCD chips off. Measure this bore real quick. No, don't. Let's see. At 439. We're going to take 20 thousandths off. Alright, we've got this bored out. We've got it bored out to 475. So now that we've got all our cutting done, everything that we need to that's concentric to the bore, the crown, the threads, the bore of the muzzle brake itself. Now, what we're going to do is change this. I told you we're going to have two different dial-ins that we're going to dial something in at. So, next we're going to dial in actually on the outside of the barrel. Okay, the reason that we're going to dial in on the outside of the barrel is obviously earlier in the video I showed you that it was what, 2.5 thousandths run out between that and the inside of the bore. So when you go to contour this brake so that it matches the contour, the outside contour of this barrel, if you were just to leave it dialed in on the inside of the bore, you're going to get a 2.5, 3 thousandths difference in between the muzzle brake and the very end of the barrel here. So what you want to do is dial in on the outside of the barrel so that when you turn this down, the muzzle brake down to match the barrel, it will be perfect. It'll get a nice smooth finish. It just takes less polishing to get that mating line right there pretty much seamless. So I'm going to go ahead and just dial in on the outside of the barrel, and then we'll come back as I start to turn. Alright guys, I told you that we were going to dial in on the outside of the barrel because we want the outside diameter of the muzzle brake to match the outside diameter of the barrel, and we don't want any highs or lows. Like you might, if we stayed dialed in on the center of the bore, we might get 1 thousandths here and maybe 2 thousandths underneath the outside contour of the barrel on this side. That makes it really hard to blend in. So what I do is, I put my indicator on and I dial in on the outside of the barrel right where it's going to mate up. So I put that on there and I've got it dialed in. I just want to show you there's pressure on it, you can see that. So we'll get that set and we'll just spin the barrel and show you that I'm dialed in on the outside of the barrel. And now we'll start to turn the muzzle brake so that it matches this. Alright, just for some support, because I'm doing these interrupted cuts, I've got my light center in there. And we're going to start off, we're just going to take some roughing passes speed this kind of fast. We're still turning at 800 RPMs. Okay, we're at 921 on the bore. I'm sorry, 921 on the outside of the barrel. We're at 953 right here on the brake. So we're going to take off. I'm going to sneak up on it and go 10 thousandths at a time on a slower feed. Alright, we're at 938. We'll take another, I'm going to take 5 thousandths off, and then we'll get our finish cut. Okay, we've got 932 on the outside diameter of the muzzle brake. We're at 921 on the barrel. We're going to go ahead and take a 10 thousandths cut on here and get it really close. Might even take 10 and a half. It's nice and close. You can just barely get that. I'll take a measurement. I'm running out of time on the camera. Here we are. Alright, we've got about 1.5 thousandths that I'm going to try to take off here. You can just see my fingernail just catches on that. So we're at 921 on the barrel. We're at like 923 on the outside of the muzzle brake itself. I gotta be quick and back this out right towards the end, so not the beginning of the barrel, because you just contact. Oh yeah. And just, man, oh man. Well, that's so close, I'm not even going to mess with that.